Hey, everybody. Um, I know it's a short little study group tonight, but the weekend was a study group as well. So I thought we'd open it up to shares and questions right off the bat. And if we have enough time, we'll do a little quick um, dive into something. But go ahead and unmute yourself or type in, and let's go ahead and hear shares or questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Laura. Start us out.
Hey, Laura.
Hey Greg, hey Sam. I have a question that's a
Mhm.
general question, but I was just part of the last session
Sure,
and I wanted to ask it. Um, when you talk about expansion,
sure.
um, and this happens frequently, but even more so tonight, it was just like a continuous massive yawn.
Yeah,
And and I was shivering, and I never shiver.
yeah, yeah.
Is that part, could that be part of expansion?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a very good question. Like, with expansion, you're shifting over to the intuitive part of the mind, and the heart's becoming more activated. And so, with that, there's a shift in the nervous system, and how we talk about rest and repair, not just that there's more vagal tone, but there's like that greater potential of going deeper into rest and repair. Because part of that is actually even tied to how we have our spiritual experiences. So on a lower level, that is, healing the body and starting to quiet the mind and things like that. But as you go past that, there's a spiritual experience that would come from that. And so the yawning is your body resetting and coming out of activity or fight flight and going deeper into rest and repair. But it's also how your body lets go of like old stagnant energy. And so as that energy kind of comes in, it displaces that lower vibration or that stagnant energy. So expansion is an increase of essence, so an increase of light or an increase of energy. And so it's flushing things out of your body and over your system. And so if you looked at the aura, when you start to expand, you kind of go like this. It doesn't last for a super long time, but you kind of go like this. And so part of the coldness or the shivering is the basic kind of shrinks a little bit because you're expanding and you're going out of the body. And then when you come back, the basic will go back to its normal size. And sometimes even a little bit bigger, like it will strengthen the basic chakra. And so, yeah, that would be kind of normal, or not out of the ordinary.
So I think that I've also had it in the past where I just got really hot also. Is that
Yeah, so that's a different channel, and so sometimes that is like Kundalini cycling, or some Kundalini moves up, or there's a lot of energy coming down, because you'll expand and then the energy will come back down, and then you'll expand. And so the heat is like more when you're in like the phase of the energy physicalizing. And so, it's just um our bodies at different places, and so you'll have it, it'll be all over the place.
so what are
One
some
of the
more of the
nostrils. What's it?
so what are some more of the other things that people experience with expansion or that
um
process?
yeah, like so sometimes you'll have expansion. You might you start to space out, you start to drift, you might start having like little visions. um if you're really expanding, you'll start to lose awareness of the body. And the goal is that like we're also letting go of some of the things that might be bothering us, a bad day, a negative situation with a person or something like that. But when there's that expansion, you could say that there's like attachments that we're letting go of, like old experiences, old situations. And they're not always people. They could just be like events, or things that happen, periods in our life, and you're just kind of, it's not that they disappear, but there's not the attachment to them. Like you can still recall them and have a memory, but they're not eating up some of the brain data, like with your brain trying to maintain, like especially traumas and fears, like because they're from something from the past, there's part of the brain that still thinks that they're happening and you're experiencing them on some level, even though years or decades has gone by. And so sometimes those attachments are the shift in the brain so that it goes, oh, that's not happening anymore. That was 20 years ago. But energetically, it's what you would call attachment. Like you let go of it, because your brain's staying stimulated because it's still like connected or fixated on these old things because the brain wants to have some sort of resolution. It wants to resolve it, it wants to prevent it, it wants to do, whatever it's going to do. And so when you have more expansions like that, it's almost like you're wiping the slate clean a little more every time you have an expansion, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I've experienced a whole lot of those things that you've said at different times.
Mhm.
And but when it's vastly different, from the last, it makes you wonder. I just don't have enough information, I guess. Thank you. That was perfect.
Well, it's going to also be a little bit different from person to person. In my early days of meditation, um, I'd be sitting in a room with a bunch of people and, we'd be doing a meditation. And I mean, I could hear people like just blissing out. And I mean, there was one event where people were so expanded that they were falling out of their chairs. And I was sitting there like, I feel relaxed, but I mean, I don't feel like I'm gonna fall out of my chair or like, having big, I wasn't even like having deep yawns, but I felt relaxed, but you'll go through phases sometimes, and it also depends on the part of the brain that's like working. And I would say back in those days, in the early days of the meditation for me, I was really stuck in the intellect, like really, really stuck in the intellect. And so like I could have the experience, but I really didn't have expansion. And so as I started having these different experiences, they've gone through like kind of levels or degrees of expansion where, you know, there's times where I just have these normal kind of quieting and blissful experiences. And then there's these times where I have these amazing experiences. I was like, oh, my meditation's hit a new level. And then I go back to just the normal experiences. Like, so you're going to have times where it's just going to be different, you know. And for me, like when I was really mental, like in my intellect, I could say. Um, I had more expansion when I was tired. Like my mind didn't have the juice to like keep trying to be super mental about it. So I would have bigger experiences. But if I was well rested, I really wouldn't have that great a meditation. And so I got to where I would only meditate when I was really super tired. And so, I would meditate like at the end of the day or something. And eventually that stopped being an issue. But, you're going to have experiences all over the place. And sometimes you're working through something, sometimes you're shifting something, sometimes you're breaking through like kind of a threshold or a barrier. And so you are going to have some different experiences sometimes. Sometimes you'll have realizations, you know, like you'll notice like subtle little patterns. And if you try to explain it to somebody, it wouldn't make sense, but when you see it, you know it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that happens in meditation. But then you try to explain it to people and it's like words don't really work. And then when you explain it to somebody, you know, it's they don't get what you're talking about, you know, because it's a very personal, a very like internal thing that's happening. And so I used to try to talk those things out, but now I just kind of sit with them and watch them and you know sometimes they're tied to a shift or sometimes they're tied to a like a realization, but even a realization can happen over a period of time. Like it doesn't happen just like a light switch. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it's like this slow roll that happens over a period of time, and you can kind of feel it coming. But and then one day you're just like, oh, I got it. And then you get used to it, and that realization that seems so incredible in a couple of weeks just seems normal. And it's not that it slipped away, you just got used to it. And then, you know, you start working your way to another one. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You know, it's like peeling an onion, but like peeling the onion from the inside out. You know, we think of the layers going in. I mean, that is one way, but sometimes as you're expanding, it's like you're in the center of the onion and you're peeling away these like spaces. And, you know, part of the expansion is you're breaking out of thoughts and feelings, but you're also breaking out of like you know how we were talking about the thought form that's kind of associated with the body. You know, you're shifting out of that, but then you start to even shift out of the aura and change the aura a bit. You know, so those auric programs, you're kind of breaking through those auric programs. So there's a lot of different dynamics that happen to something that seems like such a simple practice. There's a lot of layers to it.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you're so welcome.
And go ahead, Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Greg. On doing when we start working with the planets
Mhm.
on number C and D, we're doing the four quadrants, forward and backward. And it occurred to me maybe doing the four quadrants from the hips down, forwards and backwards, would that aid in clearing out old things and
Where are you at? What are you looking at?
so I'm specifically looking at page 3, segment
Page.
1, Healing Spirit of the Sun.
Okay.
I'm looking at D and E. We're
Okay.
working health rays and zodiac support, and we're doing the four quadrants.
Okay.
So if we did the four quadrants from the hips down,
Oh, I
um,
see. Yeah,
we,
well, especially since you're working the spirits, because the sex chakra plays a big role in the spirits, and so cleaning the lower legs can be a thing. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
And you know, we're going to do that in the Life Alter class this weekend. We're going to, you know, how we do the four quadrants. We're going to do a variation where we do the upper quadrant or the upper part of the body, like
hmm
the head and neck, and then we're going to do the torso, and then, like you said, the hips down, like we've
okay,
done in some previous classes. And it just takes everything a little bit deeper. But like especially when you're dealing with like elements or spirits, the
hmm
legs are a big deal. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're right on the money. Yeah,
okay, good.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're so
Otherwise, yeah, it was a really good review. Thank you.
yeah, good.
Healing spirits of different planets, can they be done one after the other without first doing the refinement and without the
Yeah,
post?
you could fire through that like that, sure. I mean the thing that might happen is the reason why I kind of take the time and go through each one is um you know it can be a little bit congesting. because you are shifting things quite substantially. And when you're doing the part with the health rays, you're helping to release things out of the web. And so what will happen is if you kind of do a whole bunch of them and then you do like the process with the health rays and the zodiac and the protective webs and all that, it will still work, but because you've done one and then another and another, it's like the energy body gets a little impacted, and like the second and the third one will like diminish the potency, you could say, because like the body has to release. It's like trying to inhale without exhaling. You can keep inhaling, but at some point you got to go ugh and let it go. And so, you could do a few, but at some point the efficiency goes down. That's a good question.
Yeah, good questions tonight, guys.
Yeah. So, how about we just jump to doing one of the spirits? How about we do, let's go to, actually, let's just have you pick one that you like. Let's do that. So you're picking a healing spirit that you would like to work, and we're just going to do a super short version just because we have a few minutes. And so whichever one you're working with, begin inhaling with your awareness on the sex chakra. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the sex chakra. And then your back heart. Your awareness is on your back heart between the shoulder blades. Which one are you doing? And then the back throat, the middle of the back of your neck. And the crown. Your awareness is on the crown. And then the spine. Your awareness is on the spine. And then pause and pull out your blend for the protective webs. Begin inhaling with your awareness on the kidneys. And then your awareness is on the bottom of the tailbone. Okay, now let that go. Now, like Ralph was exploring different ways to make this more potent, if you want to make a particular process more potent, after you do the protective webs, go back to the same healing spirit that you just did. Right? So, whatever spirit you just worked, pick it up and do it again. Begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the sex chakra. The back heart. Your awareness is on the back heart. back throat, the middle of the back of her neck. And then the crown. Your awareness is on the crown. And then the spine. Your awareness is on the spine. And then let go. And again, pick up your protective webs, and your awareness is on the kidneys. And then the bottom of your tailbone. How did that feel? Yeah. So again, if you want to make it more potent, keep repeating B and C before you go D and E and so on. So you can do a loop right there for a little bit. So, okay, you guys. We're going to be doing, not this weekend, but the following weekend, that mashup of, for those of you that have taken Healing Spirit and Plant Teachers and then the Life Alter class, we're going to do a mashup of the three together in a study group setting on that Sunday. So not this weekend, but next weekend. So hopefully see you then as well. So